everyone. Thanks so much for joining us on this episode of CT Tech Talks. I'm Madison Donor, our partner marketing strategist at CallTower, and today we have some special guests on the episode. I'll let them introduce themselves, but we have a great partnership with them, and we're really excited to share more about what you can do with us and them and what they're offering. So I'll throw it over to Troy with Tango Networks first. Troy, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, Madison. Thank you so much. And Kyle, looking forward to the conversation today as well. I am in the Americas supporting channel partners, and CallTower is one of my large strategic partner accounts, and really excited about some of the announcements that we've had of late and all the exciting things that they're going to bring to the table.
Awesome. And Kyle from CallCabinet, we also have him joining us today. Hey, Kyle, how are you?
Hey, Madison. Hey, Troy. Glad to join today, and really appreciate the opportunity to chat with Troy like we like to do all the time. But Kyle York, I lead America's sales for CallCabinet and work specifically with CallTower and really closely with Tango Networks. So looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, and previously, I think it was last month, we had you guys on our webinar series. Us three did a little partner training just to introduce you guys more and tell more about our partnership, really get it out there. And so we're hoping to reach the broader audience today. So thank you all for tuning in. Troy and Kyle, can we do a little refresh or a recap about what we talked about last go around on our webinar?
Yeah, sure. I'll start it out, Troy. And, we really jumped in. I mean, when you look at CallTower and how you guys are uniquely positioned to offer a lot of different solutions across UC and also across contact center as well, that, when you look at the dynamics of what Tango Networks brings from a mobile perspective, and then also CallCabinet from a compliant call recording perspective, really bringing those two together provides a lot of value for CallTower customers and partners to be able to get out there and market. And I think CallTower is uniquely positioned to be able to take advantage and your partners to be able to take advantage of mobile compliant call recording in the marketplace. So that was what we really talked about. We talked about a few of those use cases, and we'll go through some more of that today.
Yeah, I think the reality is, and I actually wasn't on that call, Madison. That was Mike Bishop from my team that was on that one.
Team,
but,
yes.
But Mike's been with us for a really long time and covered me in my absence. But yeah, I mean, I think the key thing is that every single one of us kind of by ourselves, we're not as strong as the three partners together in delivering solutions for your partners and for their customers. And so I think the number of use cases really, I think, is where it gets exciting to talk about and really opening up the doors for some markets that partners would not have had a chance to go into previously.
Absolutely. And I know that when we were, prepping for this, when we were discussing, even during the webinar, we really want to take home for partners is, what makes this partnership stand out, what makes this, really jazzy and sparkly is that, CallTower, we're one of the only ones that could pull off this combination together. But the issue is no one knows how to consume it. So let's dive into that. Why should I care as a partner? What is this going to bring me? CallTower, Tango Networks, and CallCabinet.
Yeah, I think I'll take that one first, Kyle, and then you can chime in. But from a partner, I mean, as I said earlier, you really have an opportunity. I mean, Microsoft says there's 2.7 billion frontline workers out there, and historically, those had been subscribers that you wouldn't have had a reason to go out and sell a communications license to before, because they would have said, "Hey, I don't use a desk phone. I'm not in my office. I'm out in the field." And so what CallTower is able to bring to the market, and oh, by the way, not just Microsoft Teams, but also WebEx calling as well. But to be able to bring direct dial from the device into the platform, and then being able to leverage CallCabinet for voice recording, AI, and all of those types of things really brings, I think, some exciting use case opportunities for your partners.
Yeah, and I would just to tag onto that, Troy. I mean, when you look at it, again, CallTower and its partners are uniquely positioned to be able to take advantage of the offers that we bring to bear. But, Troy hit it. There are a lot of roles within companies and organizations that don't have a desk phone. We take that for granted a lot of times, that we're in the industry, we have a desk phone, we have an app on our laptops that we utilize for UC and things like that. But there are a lot of roles within companies that don't have either a laptop or even a desk phone, and so they're roving around constantly on their mobile devices. And how do you make sure that they're compliant, that they're adhering to the regulatory standards that the company or the industry is bound by? And so that's one, that we really, are able to bring in, again, Tango on the mobile side, bringing in, of course, the best of CallTower, and then what we do from a compliance and compliant call recording perspective to ensure that these companies are compliant for those roles that, aren't sitting at a desk all day.
And going back to that, anyone who owns a mobile device, what is our target market here? Who the audience, who are we trying to get to? And some verticals that it's been successful for us altogether.
Yeah, Lord knows I'm kind of the king of oversimplification, where the engineers in our company seem to overcomplicate things. But truly the way that I look at it, and I think it's a salesperson's dream, is that any individual out there that uses a mobile device for business is a target customer for CallTower and your partners, with all the different things that you could integrate with it. Certainly, there are very different use cases that might dictate one way or the other, and in some cases, voice over IP or your app might be good enough, but in many cases it's not. And I think that's something that's critical for your partners to really understand, is that you don't have to go out and boil the ocean. I mean, if you have a business opportunity that has, say, 1,000 subscribers there, no doubt at least 100 of those are going to be qualifiable to be able for the mobile device, but then still be able to get communication licenses to add all of the other features that you guys offer, as well as what Kyle offers with CallCabinet.
Yeah. And I would say some of the key verticals and the industries that we really focused on that are really asking for these types of solutions has traditionally been financial services and healthcare. And when we look at financial services and the regulatory environment that they're in, they have to record calls for many different reasons. And compliance, of course, is big for these guys. If not, they can be fined, millions of dollars for not recording those phone calls. And so that's part of it. As someone's out there roaming around on their mobile device, they need to ensure that they're compliant, and so we can capture those calls. And I'll give you a couple of use cases. Even in financial services, you think about traders that are out there running around on their mobile devices, or folks that are supporting high valued clients. They need to be able to be responsive to those clients and be able to take those calls on their mobile device. So having the ability, for a single number reach, right, with Tango, and being able to pick up that call just like they're in the office, but then recording those conversations again for compliance reasons. It may be, a matter of a trader, basically, wanting to take information from a client, but also how do they ensure that the client's requests are followed through on appropriately. And so having a record of those conversations is really critical. But also there are things that we can also capture and key in on through use of AI. So there may be important information that they're revealing that may need to be redacted out of those recordings. So it could be personal information, it could be account numbers, it could be credit card information as well from a financial services perspective. And so being able to pick up again on that on a mobile device, being able to redact those important words within those conversations that need to be redacted is really critical. And again, we're doing that in a mobile environment, which is really critical. Healthcare is the same way, right? That there's a lot of regulation around patient data, and so being able to understand what that data is, redact that out of certain conversations. Again, this is taking place on a mobile device. Folks are roaming around the medical campuses. They're in the hospitals, wherever they may be. They need to be responsive. They need to be able to be responsive. That's what Tango Networks is able to help them provide. But it's also being compliant. And so that's why it's really a great relationship that we have with the three of us. So.
Yeah, and it's actually pretty recent, Kyle. I mean, right after COVID, those large financial institutions were fined not millions, but hundreds of millions of dollars by the FCC for using personal devices in a highly regulated environment. And then I think, the good side of the recording too, whether it's a salesperson who wants to just have summaries of his calls while he's out being mobile, that's certainly one key benefit, but also for the organization to be able to either protect the organization. If that individual may or may not have shared HIPAA information, at least they have recording of when those calls are taking place with the end user there.
Yeah, it's
And
important.
yeah, absolutely. And especially in a world where so much is happening with AI, protecting that data is super important for not only the company, but the customers too.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I know, Troy, I've heard that with Teams Phone Mobile, there's with Verizon and then there's AT&T. So I've heard about that, but can you tell us a little bit about the difference there?
Yeah, so really the difference is, and again, this is why I say this service works for anybody with a mobile number, because the real question for the business is what's the number to project or to present as your business. And if you want Teams Phone Mobile, which is the mobile number from Verizon or from AT&T, then that's absolutely fine. But certainly a large percentages, even within the business or just other businesses, are going to really put more favor towards that wireline number. And that's really the unique difference. The operators are doing the mobile number. We're doing the wireline number that CallTower is bringing in with the PSTN lines. So that's the key differentiator there.
Awesome. And I know we talked about a lot. We dived really deep into those use case studies in our partner training webinar. So if you're listening and haven't taken a look at that on demand version, we do have it. We'll link it in the description here so you can learn a little bit more about how we work together, in healthcare, finance. Kyle and Troy and Mike have put together some great use cases that we reviewed, so we can dive deeper into those. But as a whole, Kyle and Troy, what do you want partners to take home from today's podcast episode?
Yeah, and I'll jump in there, Troy. I think,
Sure.
having a strategy with the customers, right? And understanding, I think Troy hit the nail on the head, is how many mobile workers do you have out there, right? How many, what types of roles, understanding their mobile usage today, and, also understanding how through use of our types of solutions and really getting deeper into the use cases that we're talking about now, but also that we talked about on the last podcast, I think is really critical in understanding those key use cases, right? I mean, as salespeople and within partners, et cetera, we all need to be able to internalize those types of use cases and stories. And so there's a ton of use cases for mobile compliant call recording. Troy and I've kind of mentioned a couple, but it doesn't stop with healthcare and financial services, right? And Troy talked a little bit about sales, and most every company has a sales organization within their company, right? And so they could utilize that type of technology, whether it's from training aspects or dispute resolution or whatever it may be. But I think the big takeaway is asking those questions, right? And probing the customer and better understanding their mobile usage across the company, because I feel like it's untapped, right? A lot of these companies that we're talking to, Troy, financial services organizations, a lot of times we're going in and we're working with the partners and we're talking about, calling and calling on the landlines, or whether it may be, the laptop, and we're really trying to suit the needs and the requirements of call recording for those environments, but we're really not talking more about the mobile usage. And so that would be the big takeaway is ask those questions around mobile usage and who those mobile workers are, and better understand how through use of our solutions, the joint solutions, that they could, of course, be more efficient, but also ensure that they're compliant. And so it's just asking the right questions and really diving into it. And I would also say engaging Troy and I, right, to do that, and having us help support and lead the path a little bit and show how it's done. But no, I would say that those would be the key takeaways for me. What would you say, Troy?
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on, Kyle. I mean, I think at the end of the day, we as salespeople, we always want something that's new and innovative to talk to our customers and our partners about. And while fixed mobile convergence has been around since like 2005, I think you go way back with Tango, even from that period, Kyle.
Yeah.
But I think having something that's easy and simple to just go talk about. I mean, employees don't want to have to carry two phones. So being able to have your personal line and your business line that's monitored, regulated by the business in those environments where it needs to be, certainly simplifies things for everybody, gives you tons of use cases and opportunities to go out to where you can really really by asking the questions that Kyle talked about, really solving some real outcome for the end user and generating additional revenue for the partner, I think is going to be critical as well.
Yeah. I would say one more thing is that, CallTower is, again, I've said this a couple of times, is uniquely positioned, to assist the partners and the customers be able to consume these types of solutions. And so that's why, Troy and I are really bullish on what you guys are doing and excited to begin working with partners and your partners out there to really dive deeper on these use cases and where this really makes sense for a lot of customers. So that's the other thing I would say is CallTower is going to be able to really assist through this. So that's why we're excited to have this relationship, this joint relationship. So
absolutely.
Yep.
And it's awesome. It's great, off to a great start. And those listening, if you guys want to learn more, happy to connect and we could tell you a little bit more about how we might be able to help your end user. But thank you guys so much, Troy and Kyle, for joining us. Thank you, everyone, for listening. If you want to find out more about us again, our partnership, feel free to reach out. Happy to chat about it and see what we can do for you. Thanks again, and be sure to subscribe. Thanks, Kyle and Troy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Madison.